All right, today's objective is that we're going to apply properties of integer operations. You want to make sure that you accept the Google Classroom invite that you should have already been invited. So if you can get there through the Launchpad on the neisd.net website, you should see that either in your email or at the Google Classroom website. You want to make sure you've turned in your goal sheet and your student info sheet signed, please, as soon as you can. We're going to be taking those up tomorrow, so make sure you have that. We have notes today on integer operations, and this is a no calculator notes sheet and assignment. So we're going to be doing some mental math today. There's two types of ways to add and subtract positive and negative integers. Integers are numbers that we use here. There's on the left-hand side here how to add same signs together. And by same signs, we mean positive and negative signs. And then on the right-hand side here, we have what to do when to subtract. It's when we have different signs. Okay. So look at this first example. We have a positive 4 plus 3. Those are both positive numbers. So the rule is that we're just going to add those numbers, keep the sign. So 4 plus 3 is 7. And since those are both positive, we're going to write a positive 7. Cool. And then this is the tricky one, negative 5 minus 9. If it's negative and you're subtracting, you see another negative, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to add those numbers, add the 5 and the 9, but you're going to keep the sign, keep that negative sign. So 5 plus 9 gives me 14. But since it's a negative and there's a subtraction sign, you see those two negative signs, you got to put a negative 14. Okay. This is often confused with the idea of two negatives make a positive. So two negatives make a positive only works when you're talking about multiplying or dividing. But in this situation, we are adding or subtracting, a little bit different, and that rule does not apply here. So let's go ahead and plot this on a number line. You got to be able to plot on a number line. So you want to get your 4 somewhere on there and be able to add 3, which means go 3 to the right. So I'm going to put 4 right here. And then I'm going to fill in this whole number line. I'm going to put my pencil at 4, and I'm going to count. Plus 3 is going to go 1, 2, 3. And that's where you need to put a nice big dot. Okay, so it's okay if you put a circle, but you've got to make sure you fill it in, otherwise it is not correct. Okay, so again, 1, 2, 3. That dot is plotted. Now for negative 5 minus 9, we're going to go ahead and put negative 5 on the far right, and then I'm going to fill in these numbers descending to the left. So if I start at negative 5 and I subtract 9, I'm going to go to the left 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And isn't that the answer? Negative 14 that we got earlier. Cool. Now what if they have different signs? So on the right hand side here, do you see how we have a negative 4 and a plus 8? Negative and plus, those are different signs. So here's our rule. We're going to subtract the two numbers, largest minus smallest. We're going to keep the sign of the larger number. Let's think about this. Negative 4 plus 8. The signs don't match, so I'm going to make sure I take that big number, 8, minus that smaller number, 4. So what's 8 minus 4? You should get 4. And then your next question you ask yourself is, which one's the bigger one, and what's the sign? So the bigger number is an 8, and it's a positive 8, so that means our answer has to be positive. So that 4 stays just like that, positive 4. Let's do it again. So we have a 8 minus 9. That means we have a positive, implied positive 8, and a subtraction, so a minus 9. So those signs don't match, a plus and a minus. They don't match. So once again, we're going to have to subtract the numbers. So let's pick the bigger one, 9 minus 8. Okay, 9 minus 8 gives us 1. And then we have to think, what's the larger number? And the larger number is 9. Right in front of that 9 is a negative sign. So since the bigger number is negative, the answer has to be negative when they have different signs. Okay, now you can do this on a number line as well, and we need to do that to plot it. So we're going to do -4 plus 8. So let's go ahead and put -4 over here on the far left. And we're going to ascend up to 0 and then past 0. So again, put your pencil at -4 and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you got to put a solid circle there filled in. And then for 8 minus 9, let's go ahead and put 8 at the far right, and then go descending to the left. And we got to make sure we start at 8 and subtract 9. It goes to the left 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So those are your two rules for solving these. We do have practice down here. So let's do these real quick. If you have -3 plus 10, they do not match, so we subtract them. We're going to do 10 minus 3. And the bigger number is 10, which is positive. So the answer is positive 7. We're going to start with -3 on the left and ascend to the right. And we just got to count plus 10. Adding 10 means going to the right 10. Make sure you put a shaded in circle. Okay. Practice number 2. Hey, these match. A -12, a -7 is like a negative. When they match, remember, that's when we add them. What is 12 plus 7? 19. And you have to keep the sign, and both signs were negative. So we got -19 for that one. Let's go ahead and put -12 on the far right. And then we're going to descend to the left. All right, and then starting at 12, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the left because we are subtracting. Cool. If you flip it over, we talked about PEMDAS. Okay, this is called, as you can see right here, it says integer operations. You may have heard it called order of operations. Okay, so you've probably heard of PEMDAS. Very important thing. The M and the D are like one step, so I kind of like to put that in parentheses. PEMDAS, and then the AS is also grouped together. So multiplying and division, you're going to look for both of those from left to right in one step. And then for the last step, addition and subtraction, you're going to look for both of those from left to right. So let's just do some practice. On number 1 here, I want to think, do I have any P parentheses? No, I don't. Do I have any E exponents? Yes, I do. I have 3 squared. And before you write down 6, please remember 3 squared means 3 times itself. 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 is not 6. 3 times 3 is 9. So go ahead and put plus 9 underneath that. And bring everything else down. 9 times 8. 7 times 6. That's all of our E exponents. Now remember, this next step is m/d. Any multiplying or dividing in one step, we're going to look from left to right. So I'm starting on the left, I have, oh, hey, 9 times 8. Mental math is 72. Hopefully you can do that. If not, you want to work on those mental math skills, and ultimately we will have calculators in the future, but not today. 7 times 6 is next. It says plus sign, and then 7 times 6 is 42 plus 9. So that's all the multiplying and dividing. Our last step is adding or subtracting from left to right. So we can add up all these. We end up getting 123 when you add up those three numbers. So what you can do is put 123 here. And just make sure you put a shaded in circle above 123. Cool. All right, last one. P, no parentheses. E, no exponents, but I do have multiplying and dividing. So starting on the left, I actually do have a dividing first. So even though M comes first in PEMDAS, I got to divide first because I'm going from left to right, M or D. So 81 divided by 9 is 9. Bring everything else down. And let's see about multiplying and dividing again. Hey, multiplying. 9 times 2 is 18. Don't forget that minus. 2 times 9 is 18. 18 minus 18 is 0. So you can put a 0 there and shade it in with a circle, okay? So very important that we're able to not only solve, but put it on a number line, okay, with shaded in circle. Cool. Last thing is you want to make sure you've done, you can work on the assignment. It says worksheet, integer operations. You should be able to do all of this as much as you can, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow.